Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. President,
All right, Senators, this morning we are very pleased to have the Reverend Emmanuel Johnson of St. Luke's United Methodist Church in Reisterstown, Maryland, guest of the distinguished senator from District 10, his first time giving an invocation here before the Senate. So please, let's give him a nice Senate respectful invocation and welcome. Please rise for the invocation.
Now to him who is able to keep us from falling, to only wise God, our Savior, be honor, glory, majesty, dominion, and power, henceforth, now, and forever. Oh God, our Father, we come before you this day to give you honor and praise. We thank you for giving us life, health, and strength. We thank you for creating us to be diverse people. We realize that we do not all think and act alike, but in spite of ourselves, we give you praise. We thank you, the creator of all things, for love, kindness, and mercy. We ask you to dwell in the hearts of humankind. We ask you to bless and guide our elected and appointed officials in this world, and particularly in this state. Help them make decisions that are inclusive of everyone, decisions that will benefit everyone, decisions that will not cause divisiveness, ill will, or hard feelings. Help us to agree to disagree. Make us all more kind and loving towards one another. Help us realize, regardless of where we come from, regardless of our background, regardless of our race, regardless of what we believe in or who we believe in, we are all sons and daughters of yours, and you are our Father. You are the source and sustainer. You are Jehovah Elohim, the Lord our Creator. Jehovah Jireh, the Lord our Provider. You are Jehovah Rapha, the Lord our Savior. You are Jehovah Shalom, the Lord our peace. You are Jehovah El Elyon, the Most High God. You are the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the first, middle, and the last. We ask you that this day and the days to come, forgive us of our sins by thought, word, deed, commission, or omission. Give us another chance and try us one more time. We ask you to be with all us in our work and play, be in our hearts in this day and this time. In the triune God's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Well said. Well done. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Chair recognizes the senator from District 10.
Yes. Colleagues, we welcome Reverend Johnson this morning. He is at St. Luke's United Methodist Church, which was founded in 1834, when 43 enslaved persons of color sought permission to worship. The Grand United Order of Odd Fellows in America, Lodge 1489, built what is now the church's fellowship hall, located at 58 Bond Street in Reisterstown, Maryland. The building is listed as a historic property by the Maryland Historic Trust. This organization of Odd Fellows was founded by African Americans in 1842. The lodge, now owned by the church and located adjacent to the St. Luke's United Methodist Church, served the African American community as a mutual aid and benefit organization. Their mission was to combine their resources to defray the expenses of burial, sickness, disability, and widowhood. St. Luke's Church continues to work with the Reisterstown Improvement Association on a heritage trail, which includes historic St. Luke's Church, the Fellowship Hall, and cemetery, which is the resting place of a very decorated Buffalo soldier, Augustus Wally. We welcome Reverend Johnson here today, and thank you for the invocation.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you for that background and context. And without objection, we will journalize the Reverend's inspired remarks this morning. Has everyone recorded their presence in the chamber? It appears so. Clerk will take the call. With 47 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland is now in session. Senators, we have some special guests today. Let's go ahead and start with the Majority Leader. Do we have the resolution?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator may proceed.
It is my absolute pleasure this morning to introduce a District 39 resident, Ms. Layla Nasser, who is Miss Maryland USA of 2021. Layla grew up in Montgomery Village and has been active with Girl Scouts of America since first grade. And upon becoming a troop leader, Layla has worked to help young women develop into leaders in our. Her volunteerism did not stop with the Girl Scouts. She has served with Ronald McDonald House, Give Hope Global's mission in Haiti, and several community outreach programs and women empowerment groups. In her professional life, she helped create the first ever diversity talent acquisition team at Adobe, where her efforts have helped provide opportunities to thousands of talented and underrepresented individuals. Mr. President and colleagues, we could not ask for a better representative of Maryland, and I ask you to please join me in welcoming Miss Maryland USA, Layla Nasser.
The clerk will read the resolution in full.
And I have a resolution.
Clerk will read the resolution.
Be it hereby known to all that the Senate of Maryland offers its sincerest congratulations to Layla Nasser in recognition of being named Miss Maryland USA 2021. The entire membership extends its best wishes on this memorable occasion and directs this resolution be presented on this 22nd day of February 2022.
Clerk will call the roll.
Congratulations. Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their vote? If so, the clerk will take the call. Ms. Nasser, the Senate of Maryland unanimously celebrates your wonderful accomplishments. Also, just noted as I was looking through the background and bio, graduate of Spelman College, and also was the Queen in Tech Connect, going to Google and bringing technology, traveled to 25 different countries. Just truly, truly remarkable. We're so proud of you, and thank you so much for all of your accomplishments. We also have a presentation from the senator from the 29th District, St. Mary's County.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, this is a proud parent moment for many of us here, and especially me. Maria Darasavia was an intern this time last year. She spent the summer, she was a page last year, this time, correction, and now, all summer, she was an intern in my office. And that is when she ran and was crowned on July 25th, Miss Maryland Teen USA. I wanted to tell you a little bit about Maria. She was born in Kuwait City, Kuwait. Maria always viewed the United States as the land of opportunity. At 9 years old, Maria moved from Kuwait to Maryland with her mother and 3 siblings. She is a trilingual Iranian American. Maria is grateful now to live in this country that she once dreamed to be in. She very much excelled in high school community by participating as the class treasurer, the captain of the varsity cheerleading team, a member of the mock trial and model UN team, the National Honor Society, the National Chinese Honor Society, a Chinese tutor, and a freshman mentor. She entered college this year as an honors international studies student, and Maria hopes to seize the opportunity to participate in similar activities aiming to benefit her community. As Miss Maryland Teen USA, Maria hopes that through community service, engagement, and involvement, she will encourage women and girls across Maryland to confidently seize their opportunities. Maria is excited to represent Maryland at Miss Teen USA and hopes to serve Maryland well through her reign. Colleagues, please welcome Maria and congratulate her.
The clerk will read the resolution in full.
Be it hereby known to all that the Senate of Maryland offers its sincerest congratulations to Maria Deversavi in recognition of being named Miss Maryland Teen USA 2021. The entire membership extends its best wishes on this memorable occasion and directs this resolution to be presented on this 22nd day of February, 2022.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
If somebody could help out on the senator from the 29th district, excellent. Has everyone recorded their vote? If so, the clerk will take the call. Ms. Darasavi, the Senate of Maryland unanimously celebrates your recognition of being Miss Maryland Teen USA. And just again, Senators, Ms. Darasavi was a virtual page last year. So even though we didn't have pages here, she participated fully and was so excited that has joined the Senator from the 29th District as an intern. It's just proof that the page program truly is kind of our frontline means of bringing young leaders into the process. And so we celebrate you and thank you so much for being here and all of your accomplishments. So congratulations. All right, do we have other introductions today? Other introductions? Chair recognizes the Senator from District 11.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Colleagues, please join me in welcoming the Doctor of the Day, Dr. Benjamin Lowentritt, wonderful physician from District 11. He's a urologist with Chesapeake Urology and also a past president of the Baltimore City Medical Society. And I understand he knows a bunch of people and has already put his services to good use with folks this morning here already. So welcome, Dr. Lowentritt.
Welcome. Thank you for being here. I think all the doctors live in District 11 in the entire state. All right, Chair recognizes the Senator from the 37th District.
Protocol Committee, we're going to be doing our pages
Yes,
this
please.
morning. So, Mr. President and Senators, we have our list of pages who are with us virtually for this week, and several of these young people have also been here in person, so you may already recognize their names. So, from Prince George's County District 24 Academy of Health Sciences at Prince George's Community College, we have Oluwaseun Adenloe. From Baltimore County District 44B, Catonsville High School, Alina Allure. Samuel Buckle from Kent County District 36, Kent County High School. Bridget Carvin, Harford County District 35B, C. Milton Wright High School. Nathaniel Eck, Montgomery County District 15, Clarksburg High School. Catherine Ellison, Carroll County District 5, Westminster High School. Yasmin Juhar, Montgomery County District 14, Paint Branch High School. Jupleen Knar, Montgomery County District 16, Richard Montgomery High School. Tyne Kidd, Charles County District 28, Henry E. Lackey High School. Madison Knight, Worcester County District 38A, Pocomoke High School. Sophia Monsalvo, Howard County District 13, Atholton High School. Natalie Ogiba, Frederick County District 4, Oakdale High School. Isra Cotty, Montgomery County District 15, Thomas Sprague Wooten High School. David Rudy Castillo, Anne Arundel County District 30B, Annapolis High School. And Robert Sewell, Calvert County District 27C, Calvert High School. Students, we are so pleased that you're here with us today, and we want to welcome you with a round of applause from
Welcome
the
to the virtual pages who are observing right now. We will have 4 with us tomorrow and hopefully 3 on Thursday. We're getting back, and if we're up to both another chamber, there would not be the page program, but in this chamber, the pages are critical. So we love this program, and we'll continue it and bolster it as much as we can. All right. Let's see. Any other introductions before we jump into business today? Remarks? If not, so be considered the reading of the journal from the prior legislative day. Senators, we have an important message from the governor. The clerk will read the message.
Dear Mr. President, pursuant to the authority conferred on me by Article 3, Section 52, Subsection 5 of the Constitution of Maryland, and in accordance with the consent of the House of Delegates duly granted, I hereby submit supplemental budget number 1 to Senate Bill 290 and House Bill 300 in the form of an amendment to the budget for fiscal year ending June 30, 2023. Supplemental budget number 1 affects the previously estimated funds available for budget operations as shown in the summary statement. The report will be on the floor system.
All right, message having been read is ordered journalized. Senators, this is an important supplemental budget. This is probably, we expect, not the last one of the year, but it has some important components to it, including some of the education funding that was not in the initial budget appropriation, and do want to appreciate the administration for moving forward and recognizing the importance of those funds, and just look forward to the ongoing conversations as we navigate through the budget. So the budget committees will go through it in detail. There's a lot of little stuff as well, so take a look. But the supplemental budget will be referred to the Committee on Budget and Taxation. Do we have everybody here? Let's do a quick quorum call before third reader.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 45 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session. All right, Senators, we have third reading calendar number 14. The clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 270, Senator Carozak, Somerset County Elections, County Commissioner Districts, and Board of Education, candidate filings. This is an emergency bill.
All right, Senators, Senate Bill 270 is on third reader for final passage. This is an emergency bill. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 270, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 271, Senator Gazzoni, Commercial Law, Disposition of Abandoned Property, Waiver of Penalties.
Senate Bill 271 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 271, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 332, Senator King, Higher Education, St. Mary's College of Maryland, Cost of Living Adjustment.
Senate Bill 332 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 332, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 378, Senator Jackson, Tri-County Council for Southern Maryland, Funding for Southern Maryland Agricultural Development Commission.
Senate Bill 378 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes, Senate Bill 378, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 409, Senator Elfreth, State Retirement and Pension System, COVID-19 related death benefits, sunset extension.
Senate Bill 409 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 409, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 410, Senator Elfreth, Teachers Retirement and Pension Systems, Reemployment.
Senate Bill 410 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 410, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 444, Prince George's County Senators, Prince George's County School Board Districts, Redistricting Plan. This is an emergency bill.
Senate Bill 444 is on third reader for final passage. Senators, this is an emergency bill. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 444, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 502, Senator Elfreth, State Retirement and Pension System Administration Clarifications and Corrections.
Senate Bill 502 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 502, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 641, Carroll County Senators, Carroll County, County Commissioner District Redistricting Plan. This is an emergency bill.
Senate Bill 641 is on third reader for final passage. Senators, this is an emergency bill. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 641 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. All right, Senators, that was all of our third readers for the day. And just for those who are watching our wonderful C-SPAN, the reason it's not contentious is because we did the work. The committees did the work, they went through, they've been debated. And so, you know, this is sort of the meat and potatoes of state government. I think a lot of people see all the controversy and the big headlines where there's lots of fighting, but that entire calendar, I think every bill was passed unanimously. So, you know, that is the heart and soul of our legislative work that a lot of folks don't actually see often. All right, let's move to second readers. We'll start with finance if we're ready. This is going to be finance calendar number 5. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 28, Senator Kelly, Home and Community-Based Services Waiver, Participation and Applications, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes Chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you. Senate Bill 28 requires the Medicaid Home and Community-Based Services waiver to include a cap on participation and a plan for waiver participation of at least 7,500 individuals. The Maryland Department of Health must send a waiver application to at least 600 individuals on the waiting list each month. A waiver application must state clearly and conspicuously that the applicant, 1, must submit the application within 6 weeks of receipt, and 2, must meet all eligibility criteria for waiver participation within 6 months of submitting the application. Amendment 1 is technical. Amendment 2 requires the Department of Health by October 31, 2022 to apply to the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services for an amendment to the Home and Community-Based Services waiver to increase the waiver cap size as necessary to implement the bill. There was no opposition at the committee hearing. I move the amendments and the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the favorable report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 28 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 144, Senator Feldman, Health, Authorization to Prescribe and Administer Amygdalin Repeal, favorable.
All right. Chair recognizes the Vice Chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 144 updates state law by repealing a law that currently exists that authorizes a physician to prescribe or administer, that's a hard name, it's commonly known as Laetrile, to treat cancer. Under federal law, the importation of Laetrile is not permitted, and the FDA considers the drug an unapproved drug product for the treatment of cancer or any other medical condition. 30 other states have moved forward to essentially ban this drug. We still have it on our books. There are no amendments, no opposition to the committee hearing. Move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 144 is hereby ordered printed it for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 167, Chair Finance Committee, Maryland Insurance Administration, Enforcement Authority, Payment of Claims, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you. As amended, Senate Bill 167, a departmental bill, clarifies the enforcement authority of the Maryland Insurance Administration, the MIA, when an insurance company, a nonprofit health insurance plan, or a health maintenance organization has violated state law by failing to pay a claim or otherwise fulfill its contractual obligations. The bill specifies that the remedies available to the MIA include the authority to require the company to pay the claim or fulfill its contractual obligation to the insured. The bill also authorizes the commissioner, on finding a violation of the Unfair Claims Settlement Practices Statute, to require an insurer a nonprofit health service plan, or a health maintenance organization to provide to a claimant a payment that has been determined to be denied in violation of the statute. Amendment 1 makes a change to the purpose paragraph. Amendment 2 makes a clarifying change to the enforcement provisions of the bill that relate to violations of the Unfair Claims Settlement Practices statute. The amendment also specifies an intent that the bill be construed to be clarifying only and not to grant the commissioner any additional authority beyond what is provided under current law. There is no fiscal impact, no opposition at the committee hearing to the bill as amended. I move the amendments and the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. Question on the amendments? Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the favorable report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 167 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 243, Senator Feldman, Secretary of Health, professional qualification requirement, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the sponsor of the bill as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 243 requires the Secretary of Health to be professionally qualified through experience or education in at least just one of the following areas: health law or policy, number 2, healthcare facilities administration, number 3, health economics or financial management, number 4, government operations related to healthcare, or 5, as a healthcare provider. Again, only one of these 5 criteria need to be met. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 requires that each deputy secretary in the Maryland Department of Health have at least 5 years of management experience in the field the deputy will oversee. And further requires the deputy secretary for public health services to be a healthcare practitioner licensed under the health occupations article. No fiscal impact, Mr. President, no opposition to the committee hearing. Move the amendments and the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, chair recognizes the senator from
If the floor manager would agree, I'd like
Yes.
to lay this over under the rule to take a look at it.
Okay, sure.
Senator's motion is in order. The bill and the amendment will be laid over under the rule. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 263, Senator Bidle, Health, Food Service Facilities, Beverage Options with Children's Meals, favorable with 1 amendment.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 263 requires that if a food service facility offers a children's meal that includes a default beverage, the meal's beverage must either be water, plain milk of any type, or 100% fruit or vegetable juice. Nothing in the bill prevents a customer from ordering and a food service facility from providing any legal beverage for a child. The amendment adds sparkling water with no natural or artificial sweeteners to the list of default beverages, increases the serving size to 8 ounces, and allows local governments to enact and enforce more stringent measures. There's no physical impact. Mr. President, I ask that we lay over the bill under the rules for an additional amendment.
All right, the floor leader has moved the 1 committee amendment. The favorable committee report has also made a motion to lay the bill over under the rule. Chair recognizes the minority leader.
Can I just ask a quick question, so in case we do an amendment as well?
Can we do it off the floor? Can we do it off the floor? I think there will be extended debate on this one. The senator's motion is in order, so automatically the bill is laid over under the rule. But just if we can have the conversation ahead of time. I suspect there will be extended discussion on that one. All right, clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 464, Senator Feldman, Underground Facilities Damage Prevention, Enforcement, favorable with 1 amendment. This is an emergency bill.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 464 is an emergency bill that authorizes the Maryland Underground Facilities Damage Prevention Authority to impose additional punitive measures when a person fails to notify the one-call system before performing excavation or demolition in the state, or violates any other requirements related to the excavation and demolition. Specifically, instead of or in addition to assessing a civil penalty pursuant to current law, the authority may require a person to participate in damage prevention training or implement procedures to mitigate the likelihood of damage to underground facilities, or to impose other similar measures. Mr. President, we did a rewrite of this code in 2020, and we inadvertently took out this language. We're simply putting it back in. There was a 2010 bill. We rewrote it in 2020. So this is just correcting what we kind of mucked up in 2020. The amendment adds a sponsor. There's no fiscal impact. There was no opposition to the committee hearing. I move the amendment adoption of the favorable committee report.
That's why we're back every 9 months.
Yes.
Back every 9 months. All right, the floor leaders move for the adoption of the one committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The one committee amendment is adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 464 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Let's go ahead to Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs. We've got report number 10. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 37, Senator Augustine, Health Occupations, State Board of Massage Therapy Examiners requiring license to practice and other revisions, favorable with one amendment.
Chair recognizes Senator from Anne Arundel as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. President. We've had a problem in Maryland with unlicensed folks using massage treatment in the guise of prostitution. So this is another step in trying to crack down on that illegal activity. The bill phases out the registered massage practitioner credential under the State Board of Massage Therapy. The bill prohibits the board from issuing an initial registration to practice as a registered massage practitioner on or after October 1st, 2023. Beginning November 1st, 2026, an individual must be licensed by the board to practice massage therapy in the state. The bill also alters registration and licensure qualifications and subjects an individual who practices massage therapy without a license or registration to a civil fine of $50,000 as the bill came to the committee. The bill repeals the requirement that the board adopt an official seal and requires the board to maintain electronic roster of individuals licensed or registered by the board. The board must adopt regulations to implement the bill by October 1st, 2023. There's one committee amendment because discussion in the committee thought the $50,000 was a little high. So the amendment reduces the fine, civil, from $50,000 to $10,000. No fiscal impact. Move the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the one committee amendment, the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The one committee amendment is adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The one committee amendment, or excuse me, the favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 37 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. And Mr. Floor Leader, appreciate the summary ahead of time to kind of give the context. It's very, very helpful. Thank you. All right, clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 62, Senator Washington, Pharmacists, Aids for the Cessation of Tobacco Product Use, favorable.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 62 is an important step towards expanding our access to care for Marylanders by continuing to engage our pharmacists in our efforts to improve health in our communities. So currently our pharmacists are already giving COVID shots, shingle shots, flu shots, all sorts of things. SB 62 would grant nicotine replacement therapy prescribing and dispensing rights to qualifying pharmacists. The bill would do essentially three things. One, that qualifying pharmacists would have to document newly prescribed medications in the electronic medical record. Two, they would refer the patient to a primary care practitioner for treatment. And three, it would require the pharmacists would have to undergo a training that is designed and required by the Board of Pharmacy. There are no committee amendments. It passed unanimously. I ask the body to adopt the favorable committee report.
Thank you, Senator. Senator moves to adopt the favorable committee report. Any discussion on the report? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 62 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 77, Senator West, Health Occupation Boards, Investigations, Right to Counsel, favorable with two amendments.
Chair recognizes the senator from Baltimore City as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 77 authorizes a licensee or a certificate holder who is subject to an investigation by a health occupations board, so we have a number of occupations boards, that might result in charges or sanctions to have two things happen. One, be represented by counsel during the investigation, and two, have counsel present at any interview conducted by or behalf of the health occupations board during this investigation. The committee had two amendments. One amendment, the first amendment, is technical. The second amendment expands the bill's provisions to include registration holders and authorizes counsel to participate, to ask questions, and to give advice during the investigatory interview. The amendment also gives the board the authority to remove counsel if it is, quote, substantially interfering with the investigation. There is no fiscal impact. This was passed unanimously by our committee, so I ask for the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, yes, Chair recognizes the senator from Baltimore City on the amendments.
Sure, Mr. President. Will the floor leader yield for a question?
I will try, thank you.
Senator may proceed.
So just listening to your recitation of what the bill does, I thought it was interesting at the end, in particular, the idea that the board could remove the chosen counsel if they felt the counsel was interfering with their process. Is there some criteria for that? Or because I think it could be broad, you know, they might just not like the counsel is doing the counsel's job. So I'm just wondering, is there some criteria for that? Or can they just say, I don't like this counsel, they got to go?
I would ask for an assist on this last amendment. I would.
Senator, was that one of the amendments, or was that part of it?
It's an amendment.
One of the amendments.
I would believe that it was recommended to us, requested by the board.
We could lay it over to clarification.
Do you? Okay.
No rush. Okay, all right. Senator moves to lay the bill and the amendments over under the rule. Motion's in order, and the bill will be so ordered. All right, clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 365, Senator Simon Ayers, State Government, Maryland Veterans Commission membership, favorable.
Mr. President.
Yes, Chair recognizes the senator from Anne Arundel as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This passed out unanimously and was supported by the Department of Veterans Affairs. This bill expands the membership of the Maryland Veterans Commission by adding a representative of the Reserve Organization of America as a voting member. I move the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or recital? Seeing none, Senate Bill 365 is hereby ordered, printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 386, Senator Bido, Interstate Medical Licensure Compact, sunset extension and reporting, favorable with one amendment.
Chair recognizes the Vice Chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is another in our series of sunset extension. The Interstate Medical Licensure Compact does great work and allows our doctors some flexibility with their license in terms of practicing in other states, but we continue to have oversight in terms of disciplinary or other problems. There is one amendment, which is to extend the sunset for another 3 years so that it dovetails with the Board of Physicians, so it will go till June 30th, 2030. There was no opposition. It passed unanimously. I move the favorable report, the adoption favorable.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the one committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The one committee amendment is adopted. Question now on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Hearing none, Senate Bill 386 is hereby ordered, printed for third reader. Senator, we're going to go to the next second reader calendar, but just as a quick note, as we are kind of proceeding with government as normal, some pretty scary stuff is happening in Russia and Ukraine as we speak, and so just keeping our armed forces members, our veterans, and their families in mind as things. If there's any way to avoid this thing with negotiation, that would be the ideal outcome, but scary stuff happening as we speak right now. All right, let's keep going with report number 11 from Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 7, Senator Elfrith, invasive and native plants, classification, listing, use and sales, and use tax favorable with 2 amendments.
Sales and use. Chair recognizes the senator from Baltimore City as the floor leader.
Could we have this at the end of the?
Special order to the end of the calendar.
Thank you.
Motion, without objection, bill will be special order to the end of the calendar. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 229, Senator Gallion, Environment, On-Farm Composting Facilities Permit Exemption, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill works towards one of our goals, which is keeping food scraps out of our landfills. Senate Bill 229 requires that the Maryland Department of Environment to establish an exemption by regulation from certain permitting requirements for on-farm composting facility that uses 40,000 square feet of area or less for active food scrap composting, and also meets any other conditions specified in regulations. There are 2 committee amendments. The first one adds co-sponsors. The second amendment limits the types of materials that may be composted and establishes record-keeping requirements for the on-farm composting facilities operating under the bill's permit exemption. I'd like to move the committee amendments and also request a favorable adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 229 is hereby ordered printed for 3rd reader. Hopefully those new composting, if the folks have seen the new composting baskets, and then it works out well, our pilot program there, up and running. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 381, Senator Smith, Natural Resources, Wildlife Trafficking Prevention, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the senator from Howard and Carroll counties as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, did you know that the United States is the 2nd largest consumer of illegal poached elephant ivory? I honestly had no clue. And that's because the federal government prohibits the interstate sale from things made from endangered animal parts. So what Senate Bill 381 does is it prohibits a person inside of Maryland from purchasing, selling, or offering for sale, or possessing with the intent to sell any item that the person knows or should know is a covered animal species. A violator is guilty of a misdemeanor and subject to specified fines and restitution. Fines and restitution imposed under the bill are credited to the existing state wildlife management and protection fund within the Department of Natural Resources. There are 2 committee amendments. The first one adds co-sponsors, and the second one exempts accredited zoos and aquariums from certain provisions of the bill and establishes that the bill does not apply to covered animal species part or product that is a fixed component of a knife or a firearm, if specified conditions are met. I move the 2 amendments and ask for the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 381 is hereby ordered printed for 3rd reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 454, Senator Bailey, Marine Contractor License, Performance of Services, Licensing Requirements and Fees, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the senator from Charles County as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 454 authorizes an individual who is employed by a county or municipality in the state to perform specified marine contractor services within the scope of their employment without having to obtain a license. In addition, a local government employee who performs marine contractor services within the scope of their employment must be licensed, is exempt from paying license or testing fee. There are 2 committee amendments. Amendment number 1 is technical, inserts a little comma in a sentence. Amendment 2 limits the local government licenses exception to work that does not require a federal or state permit and does not increase the footprint of an existing structure. The amendment also specifies that a unit of local government is eligible to receive a marine contractor license. I move for adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The two committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 454 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 489, Senator Hershey, Queen Anne's County Public Safety, Buildings Used for Agritourism, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from 38th District as floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. SB 489 brings you another pro-agriculture tourism bill, this one for Queen Anne's County. SB 489 would exempt an agricultural building in Queen Anne's County used for agritourism from adhering to the Maryland Building Performance Standards or obtaining a change of occupancy permit if the building's use of agritourism does not require it to be occupied by more than 200 people. This local bill would bring Queen Anne's County in line with 11 other counties. There are no committee amendments. It passed unanimously in committee. I move SB 489.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing, oh, yes, Chair recognizes the senator from the 36th District. Has an amendment?
Yes, Mr. President.
Senator, if you could, we don't have any pages today. We'll have our wonderful Ms. Morris who will help us from the Secretary's
Very
office.
simple amendment.
Thank you very much. Sponsor amendment?
Yes.
Right.
Well, no.
Or
just changing the, Mr. President, I have an amendment to offer that changes the implementation date from October to June.
Excellent. All right, hold on one moment. Let's just make sure that we get it up on the system. And senators, it's available on the floor system. All right, it looks like we've got it October to June. Chair recognizes, anything else on the amendment?
No, sir.
Okay, Chair recognizes the floor leader.
Yes, the committee would accept that as a friendly amendment.
All right, any opposition to the amendment? Without objection, the amendment is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 489 is hereby ordered, printed for third reader. Let's go back to Senate, clerk will read the special ordered bill.
Senate Bill 7, Senator Elfreth, Invasive and Native Plants, Classification, Listing, Use, and Sales, and Use Tax, favorable with two amendments.
Chair recognizes the senator from Baltimore City as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 7 requires the Maryland Department of Agriculture to classify as Tier 1 invasive plants or Tier 2 invasive plants that are identified in the Plant Invaders of the Mid-Atlantic Natural Areas publication, and the Department of Natural Resources must publish on its website a list of native plant species and identify which species may be used as alternatives to the use and planting of invasive plants. There are two committee amendments. The first is technical. The second one strikes the language that would have exempted the sale of native plants from our sales and use tax. It was voted unanimously by the committee, so I move for the adoption of the two committee amendments and the committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The two committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 7 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Yet another coming out of Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs. This is Calendar 12. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 79, Senator Bailey, Higher Education, Senatorial Scholarships, Program Accreditation, favorable. This is an emergency bill.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 33rd District as the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the finest things we do to our constituents is to award scholarships. I just did a quick calculation. In my 13 years my constituents have received over $2 million. That's money that's really used well. I get notes back all the time thanking me, and I'm sure you have the same thing occur. Whether we make the selections ourselves with our staff or with outside committees, an important function of being a state senator. But there is an issue with unique majors. As you may know, there are no mortuary programs in the state of Maryland. There's no courses to become a conductor for orchestras in the state of Maryland. University of South Carolina has one on sea biology that's not offered anywhere in Maryland. And these are unique majors, and we're able to let these students have those dollars even if it goes out of state. But there's a problem. The current law does not talk about accredited programs. And that's what this bill is all about, adding the word accredited. So the issue that came up, and I want to thank the senator from St. Mary's County for bringing this forward, he gave an award for a unique major out of state to an accredited organization, accredited by probably the Mid-States Accreditation. Well, there was a college in Maryland that started offering the same course unaccredited. Well, MHEC says, no good. Got to bring those scholarship dollars back to Maryland because they don't consider accreditation in that process. So this bill adds one word to recognize the fact that our students should be able to go to courses that are recognized on a national basis. No amendments. Would request a favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 79 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 411, Senator Elfreth, Maryland Senator Edward J. Casemeyer College Investment Plan, State Matching Contribution, age of account holder favorable.
Chair recognizes Senator from Anne Arundel as the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Honored to defend this bill on the floor, named after our good friend, Senator Casemeyer. As we know, the 529 plans are throughout the United States. It's a way for parents to be encouraged to put money aside for their children's education. In 2016, the General Assembly decided to sweeten the pot, to give bonuses. Well, guess what? There's an awful lot of smart people out there. It's a bonus per account. And of course, I have a constituent who opened 10 accounts in 1 year, and he was getting 10 bonuses, kind of defeating what we wanted. We wanted it to be very specific, encouraging that initial contribution. So we passed a law that said 2 accounts per cycle, I think it's a 6-month enrollment. But in any event, smart people out there, they said no problem. The parents will give 2 accounts, and then they started opening accounts for their child as the account holder and the beneficiary. And the parents funded it. Again, people were taking advantage of an incentive. We were supposed to make this an incentive to take the first step, and people were using it to enhance their account balances. So, to close the loophole, this bill, Senate Bill 411, requires that account holders be 18 years of age. So they're adults. They can open their own account. But the parents can't open accounts for 17 and under. No amendments. Passed unanimously through the committee. Request a favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 411 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. There's some smart parents. That's creative accounting there. All right, clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 500, Senator Simon Eyre, Anne Arundel County Republican Party Central Committee elections. This favorable. This is an emergency bill.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a corrective bill from last year. In Anne Arundel County, the Republican Party Central Committee wanted to go from districts to councilmatic. They used to have 3 members per district, which gave you 15 total. They went to Councilmatic, which we have 7 of them. They left the 3 in there, so now we have that plus a large, we have 22. They want to keep it at 15, so this is just corrective and makes it 2 per Councilmatic. I would move the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 500 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. We will give EHEA a break, and we will go to budget and tax. This is calendar number 5. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 448, Senator King, Education, Regional Resource Centers and Libraries Funding, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 448 increases the per capita funding amount that must be provided to each regional resource center and to each county public library system participating in the state's library program beginning in fiscal 2022. There are two committee amendments. First one as a co-sponsor, and the second corrects a drafting area. I move adoption of the amendment and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 448 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 477, Senator Hester, Office of the Comptroller, Legal Division and Private Letter Ruling Procedures, favorable with 1 amendment.
I was just going to ask about this bill. Chair recognizes the Vice Chair.
Well, I'm here to answer your questions, Mr. President.
Glad it's on the floor.
Thank you. This is a proposal that was made several years ago by the Augustine Commission on Economic Development. Most states in the United States and the IRS, their tax agencies, provide private letter rulings to taxpayers who have questions about the interpretation of the tax law for particular activities and transactions. What this bill does is it sets up an office in the Comptroller's office to provide private letter rulings for taxpayers who request them. The letters that the Comptroller's office would send to a taxpayer based on a specific set of facts would become public, posted on the website so other taxpayers could rely on it, and they would be in effect. The bill came in at 3 years. We amended it to say for 7 years. Move the amendment and the bill and the report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 1 committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 1 committee amendment is adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 477 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 536, Senator McCray, Income Tax, Film Production Activity Tax Credit, Digital Animation Projects, favorable with 1 amendment.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 536 expands the eligibility for the film production activity tax credit to include digital animation. It has no fiscal impacts, and it has 1 amendment which just adds co-sponsors, Mr. President.
Floor leader moves
for adoption.
For the 1 committee amendment, the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 1 committee amendment is adopted. Question now on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 536 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Onwards to judicial proceedings. Are these all JPR? Doing some work down there. Clerk, read the first bill.
Senate Bill 18, Senator Eckert, Local Government Tort Claims Act, Cambridge Waterfront Development, Inc., favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 34th District as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 18 adds to the definition of local government the Economic Development Authority for the city of Cambridge and Dorchester County. That would provide them with certain immunities and liabilities, but it also does not allow them to take advantage of the notice provision that's normally applicable under the law. There were no amendments move the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 18 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 74, Senator Jackson, Circuit Court Clerk's salary increase, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from St. Mary's as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill increases the maximum annual salary that the Board of Public Works may set for the clerk of each circuit court from $124,500 to $146,500. There were no committee amendments, passed the committee unanimously. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 74 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 161, Senator West, Courts Prohibited Indemnity and Defense Liability Agreements, favorable with one amendment.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill, as amended, prohibits the inclusion of certain indemnification or hold harmless clauses in construction contracts, which require a design professional to defend parties against liability or certain claims that the design professional had nothing to do with. Let me give you an example. There's a bridge reconstruction project on the Beltway. A concrete mixer backs into the construction zone, and in doing so dislodges some structural steel members, and they fall over, and a worker is hurt. Under the indemnification clause, the engineering firm that designed the bridge would have to pay for the damages to the construction worker. That makes no sense because the engineering firm had nothing to do with the accident. So this bill would exclude clauses in construction contracts, which would make the design professional firm the source of payment in such situations. There's one committee amendment. The amendment changes the reference from the proximate cause to a proximate cause and makes other technical changes to the bill. The vote of the committee was unanimous. I move the adoption of the amendment and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the one committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The one committee amendment is adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 161 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 279, Senator Heddleman, Access to Counsel and Evictions, Special Fund Alterations, favorable with two amendments.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Senate Bill 279 alters the funding source for the Access to Counsel and Evictions Special Fund that we created last year by taking funds received by the Consumer Protection Division in the Office of the Attorney General from any final settlement agreement or judgment related to an investigation or enforcement of the Maryland Consumer Protection Act for an unfair, abusive, or deceptive trade practice regarding residential rental property. There are two committee amendments. The first one is technical and strikes the last whereas clause in the bill. The second one specifies that the money received by the Access to Counsel Fund must be from a final settlement agreement or judgment. Move for the adoption of the amendments and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report. Question first on the amendments. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The two committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the favorable committee report as amended. Chair recognizes the senator from the 34th District on the report.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Just if the floor leader yield for a brief question.
Yield. Appears so. Senator may proceed.
Thank you. During the committee hearing on this, there was a discussion about other pending bills to accomplish the same issue of funding access to counsel. And I just pulled up for this week's bill hearings. We do have Senate Bill 662, which also provides special funding for the access to counsel. And these funds are coming from the Consumer Protection Fund and dedicated to Access to Counsel Fund. And I'd just like to know if we've coordinated these two bills or if they're sort of pursuing the same objective independently.
I'm not sure which bill you're referring to because we haven't heard it yet.
Yeah, Senate Bill 662. This is just the issue I brought up at committee. My only concern is that that maybe try to coordinate these two. And that's the only reason I'm raising this, because we discussed this in committee, but we hadn't seen this yet, but it just came up on our list for the hearings this week. So I just bring that to committee's attention. Thank you, Mr. President.
So if I could provide a little bit of context, absolutely. We have the chairman of the committee, the Judicial Proceedings Committee, and the chairman of the Budget and Tax Committee. We have all been in discussions about this. One of the things that we did last year is we created this wonderful program. We did not fund it. So we are looking at both short-term and long-term plans to make sure that we bring what we did last year to life. So absolutely, coordination is very important.
Thank you, Senator. All right, on the report, Chair recognizes the Senator from the 33rd District.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I have a question for the floor leader.
Appears the floor leader is ready. Senator may proceed.
Thank you, Senator. Now, we're diverting funds from which account?
We're not diverting any funds. Right now, we created a fund last year, but we did not put any funds in the fund.
Right.
So what we're doing is we're saying, just like we do with the Tobacco Restitution Fund and just like we do with the Opioid Restitution Fund, we're saying that if the Attorney General has a large settlement with bad actors who are using abusive trade practices, that settlement money should go into this fund. There is a nexus, right, with abuse in the residential rental field, and we're saying that money will go into this fund to support counsel for tenants and landlords.
Was there any discussion of what the Attorney General does with these large settlements? Does he use it to fund his own office or special projects?
No, when we created the fund, we specify how the fund can be used, just like we actually had on third reader today, a bill, the Tri-County Bill number 378, that took money from the Tobacco Restitution Fund. That fund spells out how that money can be used. Same thing with the Opioid Restitution Fund, can be used for education and substance use treatment, et cetera. We did the same thing last year when we created the Access to Counsel Fund. So it goes, those specifications are already in law.
Thank you, Senator.
Sure.
Mr. President, request that the bill and the amendment lay over under the rules.
Senator, the motion would be out of order at this time. The amendments have been adopted. We're on the
Special order?
Special order to tomorrow?
Yeah, maybe.
Is the floor leader?
Sure.
There appears to be no objection. Are there any objections to the Senator's motion? Without objection, the bill and the report will be special ordered to the appropriate time tomorrow. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 280, Senator Heddleman, interim and temporary protective orders, electronic filing and video conferencing hearings, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsors, the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Senate Bill 280, as amended, authorizes a petitioner to file electronically a petition for a temporary protection order with a court from certain prevention or assistance programs at a hospital where the petitioner is receiving medical treatment or another location approved by the court. If the petitioner files a petition at a hospital, the bill requires the hospital to refer the petitioner to certain prevention or assistance programs. And lastly, the bill requires a court that receives a petition filed electronically to hold a hearing on the petition through the use of video conferencing within a specified period of time. There are 2 committee amendments. The first one is technical and sponsor line. The second one strikes the bill and makes the changes authorized as I described above. Move for the adoption of the amendments and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 280 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 371, Carroll County Senators, Carroll County, prospective employees and volunteers, criminal history records check, favorable.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 34th as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, most of our jurisdictions have a system in place to allow for criminal justice information systems reports on criminal activity on prospective employees and volunteers. This is especially important for people working with children and seniors. Carroll County's laws, current provisions, have some problems with them that sort of led to an incident there, and this bill simply corrects that and brings them into line with the rest of our jurisdictions, or most of our jurisdictions. There were no committee amendments. Move the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 371 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 450, Senator Smith, harassment and sexual harassment, definitions, employee discrimination and sexual harassment prevention training, favorable.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill alters the statutory definition of harassment and defines sexual harassment relating to employment discrimination and specifies that the conduct need not be severe or pervasive. It also makes those conforming changes for the sexual harassment training that we have to have. The way that it's defined now in statute is it actually refers to a judicially construed definition, which would lead to some pretty egregious outcomes. It actually has led to some pretty egregious outcomes of some conduct not being considered sexual harassment. There are no committee amendments, Mr. President. I'd ask for the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 450 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Sticking with judicial proceedings, clerk will read the first bill. This is calendar number 6.
Senate Bill 36, Senator West, Wills and Trust Instruments, Electronic Execution, favorable. This is an emergency bill.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This emergency bill is a follow-up to a bill that we passed last year, Chapter 686 of 2021, which authorized the remote execution of wills. In the middle of the pandemic, it was essential that people be able to execute their wills remotely. That bill required a remotely executed will to be notarized. However, current law prohibits the remote notarization of wills. This bill repeals that prohibition and additionally provides an alternate procedure for remotely executing a will which does not require notarization at all. There are no committee amendments. The vote of the committee was unanimous. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
No notarization on it. Okay. All right. Floor leaders move to the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 36 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 232, Senator Jackson, Registers of Wills, maximum salary increase, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from Prince George's as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill increases the maximum annual salary that the Board of Public Works may set for a Register of Wills from $124,500 to $146,500. Pursuant to constitutional requirements, salary increase may only take effect at the beginning of the next term of office. There are no committee amendments. I move the adoption of a favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? Yes, Chair recognizes the senator from the 35th District on the report.
Yes, would the floor leader yield for a couple questions?
Yes.
Senator may proceed.
I believe you said that this would allow them to raise the maximum from $120-some thousand to $140-some thousand.
That's correct.
Okay, these Register of Wills, I guess their group all, did they officially have to support this, or their group?
Yeah, they were all favorable.
Okay, so that seems like a pretty big jump for a, positions that, all these positions are, have fully staffed offices, correct, that do a lot of this work?
There is a formula, if you'd like me to tell it to you, of how that. Okay.
Briefly, yeah,
right.
that'd
So
be
the
great.
determining of the salary is based on the population of the county determined by the last official U.S. Census. The dollar volume of total fees and taxes collected and excess fees turned over to the state for each of the preceding 5 years by the Office of the Registrar, for which the salary is being fixed, and finally other data which have relation to the reasonableness of the salary in relation to the work done and the volume handled by that office.
Okay. And just one final question, who pays the salary?
One moment, please.
The county or the state, or?
The state pays it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Chair, all right. Any further discussion on the report? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 232 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 317, Senator West, State Government, Notarial Acts, Fees, and Use of Communication Technology, favorable.
Related to the first one. Chair recognizes the bill sponsors, the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill increases the maximum fees for a notarial act from $4 to $25, and for a remote notarial act from $4 to $50. It also repeals yet another provision in Maryland law that prohibits the remote notarization of wills, and it clarifies the requirements for remote notarial acts. The bill takes effect on June 1st. There are no committee amendments. The vote of the committee was unanimous. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 317 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Still on judicial proceedings, last one of the day, calendar 7. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 20, Senator Lee, Criminal Procedure, Out-of-Court Statements, Child Victims, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsors, the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. SB 20, as amended, the bill expands statutory evidentiary provisions that authorize the admission of an out-of-court statement in a juvenile court or criminal proceeding made by a child victim under specified circumstances to include 1, the statement made by a child victim who is younger than 13 years of age and the alleged victim or the child alleged to be in need of assistance in a case before a court concerning neglect of a minor, and 2, the statement made by a child victim who's younger than 13 years of age and is alleged victim or a witness in a case before the court concerning a crime of violence under Section 14-101 of the Criminal Law Article. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 is technical. We ask that you move favorable to the amendments and the favorable committee report. The vote was unanimous in JPR.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the report is amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 20 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 134, Senator Lee, Maryland Police Training and Standards Commission, Training Requirements, Electronic Stalking, favorable with 1 amendment.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsors, the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. SB 134, as amended, this bill requires the Maryland Police Training and Standards Commission to require for entrance-level police training at least, this is current law, at least 3 years for in-service level police training conducted by the state and each county and municipal police training, that the curriculum and minimum course studies of study include special training attention and the study and application enforcement of criminal laws concerning stalking as they pertain to electronic surveillance or tracking, including services available to victims, and how victims may request additional assistance to identify and preserve their digital evidence. Amendment number 1 just clarifies the training requirement established by the bill. Move favorable the committee amendments and favorable the bill. The vote was unanimous in JPR.
Thank you, Senator. The floor leader moves for the adoption of 1 committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 1 committee amendment is adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 134 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 151, Senator Carter, Hate Crimes, False Statement to a Law Enforcement Officer, favorable with 1 amendment.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsors, the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. As amended, this bill clarifies that it is a hate crime for a person to make or cause a false statement made to a police officer, a law enforcement officer, in violation of 9-501 of the Criminal Law Article as specified about a group or person when the person's actions were motivated in whole or substantial part by the subject of the statements race, color, religious belief, sexual orientation, gender identity, disability, national origin, or homeless status, violators would be guilty of a misdemeanor punishable by imprisonment of up to 3 years and/or a $5,000 fine. The amendment simply clarifies provisions of the bill. I'd move the amendments and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the one committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The one committee amendment is adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 151 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 286, Senator Huff, firearms, use of medical cannabis, favorable.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Hopefully the fourth time is the charm for this bill. Very simple legislation which has passed this chamber 3 times before unanimously. I'll just read it. A person may not be denied the right to purchase, possess, or carry a firearm under this title solely on the basis that the person is authorized to use medical cannabis. So we would just treat medical cannabis as we would other medications. There's no amendments. Passed committee unanimously. I move the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 286 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 328, Senator Wallstreicher, criminal law stalking definition, favorable with one amendment.
Chair recognizes the vice chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Over the last year, a number of us have purchased from Apple those AirTags. They're Bluetooth trackers, so you can track your wallet or your keys or your children. Unfortunately, some bad actors are using these items to stalk people, and our stalking law doesn't anticipate this technology. So the bill before you, SB 328, modernizes our stalking law to deal with GPS trackers and Bluetooth trackers used for stalking. I move the amendment is technical. I move the favorable committee report and the one technical amendment.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the one committee amendment, the favorable committee report. This is only going to get more complicated moving forward. On the amendment, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The one committee amendment is adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 328 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 331, Senator King, program for preventing HIV infection for rape victims, alterations and appeal of sunset, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from Baltimore County as the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Senate Bill 331 removes the pilot program nature of a very important program we created in 2019 to treat people who had been victims of rape and sexual assault with HIV infection medication. And we set up this pilot program. We put some funding into the Governor's Office of Crime Prevention, Youth, and Victim Services. We have sufficient time to realize that it is needed and is being effective, and so we are moving to create a permanent program instead of a pilot program here. There are no committee amendments. I move for the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 331 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 338, Senator Huff, handgun permit, preliminary approval, favorable.
Floor leader recognizes the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Hopefully this is the 5th time is the charm for this bill. It's passed 4 times through the Senate. Very simple bill. What it says is, in Maryland, you have a good substantial reason you have to obtain in order to carry a handgun. This would say you're able to get preliminary approval, meaning simply you go to the state police and you say, do I have a good substantial reason? If they say no, then you don't waste your time and you don't apply. If they say yes, then you go get your training, you do your classes and everything. It's important to note, no one is going to get a permit without permitting the training. It's just saving people the time and hassle if they were never to get a permit. There are no committee amendments. Passed committee unanimously. I'd move the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or recital? Seeing none, Senate Bill 338 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. All right, let's go to special orders. We have a bill here, special order number 18. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 15, Senator Jackson, Election Law, Campaign Finance Enforcement. Question is on the adoption of the amendment offered from the floor by Senator Casserly.
All right, Senators, this is an amendment, should be on the floor system. Chair recognizes the maker of the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, this amendment was actually distributed before the bill was laid over, so.
Senator, do you want to explain the amendment just as a reminder?
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
So the current statute of limitations for pursuit of claims against folks for elections issues is 4 years. This would take that back to 3 years. And Maryland has a pretty solid policy of encouraging governments at all levels to pursue prompt actions. If there's a problem, don't sit on it, get it resolved and move on. And I'd just like to cite some of those. And the idea here is that if I messed up in the 2018 election, it shouldn't come up in the 2022 election. I shouldn't be dealing with an issue from 2018 and 2022. I should have already had that cleared up in 2020 or 21. This would mean that you made a mistake, your staff made a mistake in 2018. Now you're in the midst of the 22 election, and suddenly this stuff starts emerging, and you having to deal with that. So what do we do with other issues? And this amendment would simply say you got to resolve that within 3 years max. Currently, a prosecution of the vehicle code, that's 2 years. Fraudulently use of a false or fictitious name when applying for a driver's license is 2 years. Prosecute for selling alcoholic beverages to a minor, you got to prosecute it within 30 days. Prosecution for criminal offenses under the state election laws and criminal offenses under the public ethics laws and criminal malfeasance, misfeasance, or nonfeasance in office. All that's 2 years. State Ethics Commission to seek fines, that's 3 years. Welfare offenses is 3 years. Tax General article with respect to sales and use of admissions, amusement, financial institution, finance income, motor fuel tax, all those have to be instituted within 3 years. Failure to secure workers' compensation insurance, 1 year. Offense of controlled hazardous substance under the environmental article, 2 years. Transportation article violation, 3 years. Practice of medicine without a license, 3 years. Straw sales of firearms, 3 years. Violation of the Fish and Fisheries Provisions Act, 2 years. Computer crimes, 3 years. Abuse or neglect of vulnerable adults, 2 years. So I know that the folks from the Board of Elections and the State Prosecutor's Office, they stand firm that they would like to have 4 years, but I don't think that's in accordance with the state policies, and I don't think it's what we all ought to be doing, ought to be looking at in this state. If you made a mistake, catch up, do it, and raise it, but don't drag this stuff out. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the floor leader on the amendment.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate the sponsor of the amendment for providing this earlier. I think it's important to understand the process that the State Board of Elections and the State Prosecutor's Office goes through in addressing deficiencies in our campaign filing reports. And the process, and hopefully no one in this body's had to go through this before, because I'm sure all of our campaign finance reports have always been perfect, but the process is, if there are any discrepancies, the State Board of Elections generally looks at it the year after the election has taken place. They don't want to politicize the election as it's occurring. And so if it's an election year, they will wait until the year after the election, immediately after that, to start looking at those campaign finance reports to figure out if there are any discrepancies, any mistakes and such, to bring it up with the campaign candidate and the committee to help resolve that. And they'll actively work with the campaign committee to try to resolve those issues. That takes some time, and that can take up to a year. And only if the campaign committee does not resolve that issue, they can file amended reports, they can update their filings. There are means to be able to make amendments and changes to bring that campaign committee and that candidate into compliance. If that's doesn't take place, then they can refer to the Office of State Prosecutors. That can take some time as well. Then the Office of State Prosecutors has to get involved, do their investigation, and be able to look back and also work with that candidate and the campaign committee to try to resolve those issues too. Both the State Board of Elections and the Office of State Prosecutor do try to work with those campaign committees to address these shortcomings and findings. And after all of that, if they're not able to resolve that, then they're running up against the 3 years, which is what's in current statute, and that's why they're asking for a 4-year period. They want to be able to work with those campaign committees to work those issues out. And what the state prosecutor and the State Board of Elections has communicated is that if they don't have this time, and if there are more campaign violations that occur in this way, they're actually going to have to move forward their ability to look at the campaign finance reports. They don't want to have to look at these campaign finance reports during an election year. They want to be able to do that after the election year is over. If they're running up against the statute of limitations because it's 3 years, they're going to have to go back and look even earlier. The other point here is that we also don't want folks who are out of compliance or in arrears with their campaign finance reports to be able to run. And current state statute prohibits these people from being able to file for election. So I understand the maker of the amendment's concern that this individual who may be out of compliance or in arrears, would not want that brought up during an election year. They actually would not even be able to file as a candidate if they had things in arrears. And so this is really a good governance practice to extend that statute of limitations so the State Board of Elections and the State Prosecutor's Office can actually do their job, work with the candidate and the campaign committee to be able to address those shortcomings, give them ample time to be able to do that without rushing the process and speeding it up and actually starting the process of following up on this during the election year itself.
All right, thank you, Senator. Are there any senators who have not yet spoken? Chair recognizes the senator from District 6 on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. I stand in support of the amendment. I believe that the details that the senator spoke in this amendment speaks for itself. If you can see, the max of most of the things that he spoke of was 3 years. One was even 30 days. So just knowing that, I think pushing things so far for 4 years is a mistake. And I think we need to be responsible. I think 3 years is above and beyond the time that they need to do everything that they can to investigate anything. So I support the amendment, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. All right, on the amendment, Chair recognizes the Chair of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. And the floor leader did a great job. People need to understand, this also addresses people who refused to submit a report. These are not little things. There are people who won't do a report. And then they get a fine, and they ignore the phone calls from SBE. SBE wants to spend time to work with them if it was a problem that they couldn't do it, but some are just avoiding it. If we want transparency, we want to know people running for office, how much money they raised and where they got it. That's what this bill is about. And, that first year after the election, they're doing audits and everything else. They don't have time to do the reports. And then they spend up to a year trying to work and negotiate with people who won't fill out a report of addressing a fine and a payment plan. So in case that person wants to run again, 3 years later, 2 years later, they can. SB says it's very difficult for us to enforce this. I don't think we want to have an opponent who prepares to run again, and then at the last moment, they maybe pay a fine when they never submitted a report. This is transparency, as the floor leader said. This amendment weakens their ability to work with people who make a mistake legitimately and to deal with those people who do it basically out of disrespect for the law of Maryland. So I support the floor leader in urging a red vote.
All right, on the amendment, are there any senators who have not yet spoken who wish to speak? If not, Chair recognizes the maker of the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, all these concerns addressed by the floor leader about working with people, trying to resolve, trying to expand your investigation, the delays in the process, they apply to every one of these statute of limitations I read to you. Those are here in any investigation, any prosecution. They all apply. They're the same. There's a well-known dictum that the amount of time to complete a task will expand to equal the amount of time allotted. That's what we're talking about here. You can't do none of these jobs. Everything that we do in government, there's an essence about it. We sit here for 90 days busting through stuff that, in all fairness, all it takes about 12 months to do. But we got 90 days, we do it in 90 days. If you give us 6 months, we'll do it in 6 months. You give us 12 months, we'll do it in 12 months. But the Constitution says 90 days, and we hold to it, and we get it done, and quite frankly, we're pretty efficient about it, if I do say so myself. There's some things that I don't like about the outcome, but I really find the process to be pretty efficient. We need to resolve this stuff. This just doesn't belong on the back burner. These are people's, my real concern here is that the current law opens it to being misused politically. And I'm not accusing anybody in office. That's not what we talk about when we pass the laws. I'm not speaking about anybody currently holding office in the state prosecutor's office, anybody currently working in the Board of Elections. This means nothing. I'm not casting aspersions on any of them. But we don't pass laws based upon who's sitting there now. What we're looking about is we're setting up a system that could be misused, and we don't want to do that. We have a state policy that's clear. Resolve disputes, move on, get it done. Well, I could use another year. Well, you don't have another year. Figure it out and get it done. I think that's what we need to do here. It's a wise policy. It will improve. It's good for transparency, not bad for transparency, because it gets everything out in the open real quick. Quit spending so much time behind closed doors. Just do it, darn it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the Senator from Charles County.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of this amendment. I brought up some of these issues in committee, and of course, outvoted. But our government can be efficient when it chooses to be efficient. We did our personal taxes, and 3 days later, we got our refund from the state, from the comptroller office. Very efficient. We have bills coming through our committee, haven't hit the floor yet, which addresses this issue of efficient administration of the law for dentists to be dealt with when complaints go through instead of things just sitting there. And for an issue that comes up with this campaign finance reporting, 3 years is more than enough time for the state to adjudicate all these issues. So to add another year to that would say, hey, 4 years, well, next year might come back and say 5 years, or following year 6 years, or 10 years. And so these things just kind of stay there on folks' radar screen, and it could be used maliciously. So I stand in support of this amendment and urge my colleagues to support this amendment.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the Senator from the 42nd District.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I had forgotten that a candidate can't file for election or for re-election unless these matters are taken care of. So that, it seems to me, does have some bearing on this. The senator from District 12 pointed that out a minute ago. So let us assume, arguendo, that the candidate thinks he's standing on solid ground, or she's standing on solid ground, and he has a case, or she has a case. If the prosecutor were to wait 4 years, it would require the candidate basically to fold his tent and to pay the money in order to file for re-election in February of the election year. Accepting this amendment and requiring the prosecutor to initiate the case within 3 years after the offense would enable the case to be resolved, so when the filing deadline comes the following February, the candidate would know where he stands or she stands and could go ahead and pay the money if the candidate lost, but if the candidate won, there would be no money due. So I think this is a good amendment. I would recommend people vote for it.
All right, are there any senators who have not yet spoken who wish to speak? If not, Chair recognizes the senator from the 27th District on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. President. Over the years, in my 8 years here in Annapolis, I've sort of become one of the poster children for campaign finance. I can tell you from personal experience that it would be great for all of us to have investigations done in an expedient manner, but those investigations need to be done properly. I think I got like over 30-something years of investigative experience under my belt. In the case of my campaign finance report, it took a number of years before the State Board of Elections to notify us of the challenges that we had in our system. So I do understand the need for campaign finance to have the additional time. Now that request came to me because they wanted to ensure that the time needed to execute investigations and to work with the parties of interest would allow them to either go forth with a investigation or to resolve the matters. So I urge you all to resist the amendment offered by my colleague. And I think this is a good piece of governmental transparency, and this will ensure that as we go forward, campaign finance will take care of the matters necessary for clean elections. Thank you.
All right. On the amendment, Chair recognizes Senator from the 33rd District.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I have a question for the floor leader.
The maker of the amendment or the floor leader of the, floor leader of the bill?
Floor leader.
Senator may proceed.
Thank you, Senator. I'm not an attorney. I'm not quite up with the terminology, but we're talking about statute of limitations?
In essence, yes.
Yeah. And is it the statute, is it the period of time in which the violation is discovered, or the length of time that it takes to resolve the problem?
It is the length of time from when the violation occurred.
From when it occurred. Very interesting. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Senator.
All right. Any further senators? Chair recognizes Senator from District 4 on the amendment.
Yeah, I just want to speak in favor of the amendment. I was sitting here thinking about it. Most criminal misdemeanors are 1 year to 2 years. And you do that to provide some sort of fairness in the system. And with all due respect to fairness for people who are running for office, the gentleman's amendment is more than fair, because most criminal statute of limitations are 1 year to 2 years. This would be 3 longer. And so to go to 4, especially when you talk about record keeping and those kinds of documents, that's a long time to come back. And I just hope the body thinks about that. The statute of limitations are there for a fairness and a balance between the prosecutors and the people who are being prosecuted. And just think about, this would have us a standard more than double statute of limitations that we have for most criminal offenses for those who seek office. So for that reason, I'm going to support the gentleman's amendment. I think 3 years is more than fair.
All right, thank you, Senator. Any senators wish to speak? If not, Chair recognizes the floor leader on the amendment.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I think for reference, it's important to note that even for campaign finance reports, we have to keep our records for 10 years. And so, you know, I think with all due respect to my colleague from Baltimore County, I think the concern here is that this would actually speed up those investigations. This should not be a surprise to anyone any campaign committee or candidate that's running, that they have an outstanding campaign filing deviance in their report. Because the State Board of Elections will reach out to them in the year after the election occurred to try to work with them to bring their campaign finance filing up into compliance. It's only after that period that they'll get referred to the State Board of State Prosecutor's Office, and the State Prosecutor will work with them to try to bring them into compliance as well. The State Prosecutor's Office, in their communications to us, says that OSP then spends time trying to help committees understand their responsibilities and assisting the committees with navigating any roadblocks they are facing in remedying violations. And so by year 4, when that individual is running again, this should be no surprise that they have an outstanding violation. This is not going to be a gotcha moment, because the State Board of Elections has already notified them, been working with them, they've been non-responsive, they haven't brought their compliance report into compliance, their campaign report into compliance, and now it's been referred to the State Prosecutor's Office, who has very little time then to follow up. And so that's why, you know, I'm urging the body to oppose this amendment.
All right, interesting issue. I think we're ready. On the amendment, Senator requests a roll call vote. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 28 votes in the negative. The senator's amendment fails. Are there further amendments? Chair recognizes the senator from District 4 has an amendment.
I do have an amendment.
Senator, if you could, if the senator could read the amendment number. We're going to have this one on electronically.
Yes, the amendment number is 803728/1.
All right, we'll pull it up in just a moment here. Get this. Waive the reading of that? Is that? Oh, agreed. Oh, all right, I think we're ready. Senator may explain the amendment.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I want to thank the floor leader for working with me on this amendment. This just reduces from $10,000 to $5,000 the penalty for those who unknowingly make a violation.
All right, Senator moves the amendment. Chair recognizes the floor leader on the amendment.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate the input from the State Board of Elections as well. We'll accept this as a friendly amendment.
All right, progress. All right, are there any objections to the senator's amendment? Without objection, the senator's amendment is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 15 is hereby ordered printed for third reader. We are so close. We're almost there. We've got executive noms. Let's take the one nominee first. So let's do special order number 16. Clerk will read the report.
Executive nominations report number 2, nominee number 19. Will the Senate advise and consent to the nomination of the executive?
All right. The question before the body is, will the Senate advise and consent on nominee 19 from report number 2? Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. All right. With 47 votes in the affirmative, the Senate advises and consents affirmatively to nominee 19 on report number 2. We've got another report. This is special order number 17. Clerk will read the report.
Executive nominations report number 3. Will the Senate advise and consent to the nominations of the executive?
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move favorable on the gubernatorial appointments in report number 3 from the Senate Executive Nominations Committee. I do have a request from the senator from District 4 to separate...
40? Okay.
Yes, to separate nominee number 143.
143 we'll take separately. Without objection, we'll separate that out. So this would be before the body is report number 3, but not nominee 143. All right, any discussion? Any discussion? If not, everyone will look through the list, just double check. It's a long list. All right. Yes, Chair recognizes the senator from Baltimore County.
Mr. President, where can we find the list to this?
It's in Other Business tab. Other Business tab. On the floor system, should be there. Number 3. All right. This is the one that we had last week, not the most recent session. So this was the one that we had a special order from Thursday. All right. Any discussion? Oh, sorry. We're waiting for the board to catch up with us. Technologies. We've got a bandwidth issue. Electrons are moving slowly. Oh, we're good. Exception number 3. Excellent. All right. Any discussion? 143. Right. Excellent. Thank you very much. All right. If there is no further discussion, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, the Senate advises and consents affirmatively to the nominations in report 3, absent 143. Clerk will read the next item.
Executive nominations report number 3, nominee number 143.
All right, Senators, the question before the body is nominee number 143. Is there any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll. Whoop. Oh, sorry. We have an electron issue. There we go. Thank you. All right, any discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, nominee number 43 is advised and consented to affirmatively. All right, Senators, the desk is clear. That was great work. Great work. Good discussions. Lots of work done. Productive day. Let's do committee announcements. Chair recognizes the Chair of Finance.
Finance will meet at 1 for bill hearings. We have 10 bills to hear today.
All right, 10 bills in finance. Chair, thank you, Madam Chair. Chair recognizes the Chair of Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. President. Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs Committee will meet at 1 p.m. today. We have 6 bill hearings, followed by voting on 2 bills.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chair recognizes the Chair of Budget and Taxation.
Thank you, Mr. President. At 1 o'clock today, we will have a briefing on the public debt. Afterwards, we'll have a briefing on the supplemental budget. Then we'll have a voting session.
Cool.
And then we'll go to the capital budget at around 3, if we're lucky.
Rocking and rolling budget. All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chair recognizes the Chair of Judicial Proceedings.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Judicial Proceedings Committee will meet today at 1 p.m. for bill hearings.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Other standing committees, select committees. Chair recognizes co-chair protocol or protocol committee. Oh, yes, of
Thank
course.
you, Mr. President. We have a birthday today.
Yes, we do.
Permission to use the senator's name.
Senator may proceed.
So today is Senator Kathy Klausmeyer's birthday.
Woo!
And if I might continue for just a second, it's her platinum birthday. So she turned 22 on 2/22/72.
Whoa.
And she is now turning 72 on 2/22/22.
Look at that. Someone played the lotto today on those twos. My goodness. Excellent. Happy birthday, Senator. On Animal Print Day, too. I mean, everything is coming up roses. All right. Any further announcement? Just one, let's do quick administrative note. We have the panoramic photo, which we did not do previously because we had pods and all that, on Wednesday, March 2nd. So a week from tomorrow, Wednesday, March 2nd, we will do the panoramic photo. So wear your Sunday best. We'll go, Chair recognizes the senator from the 35th District, followed by the 27th.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Legislative Prayer Caucus will meet tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, second floor Neal Conference Room in the James Office Building. It's a great time for fellowship and learning, so would love to have anybody available come join us.
Thank you, Senator. Stealing the job from the senator from District 33 over here.
I was delegated the job.
Fair enough. Well done. Chair recognizes the senator from the 27th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, the Senate Veterans Caucus, or the Veterans Caucus meets tomorrow morning. You should have the virtual link in your emails. All are welcome. If you have any legislation for consideration, please bring it.
Thank you, Senator. We'll certainly keep our veterans in mind as things unfold. Chair recognizes the senator from Montgomery County.
Thank you, Mr. President. Point of personal privilege.
Senator,
colleagues and anyone who's listening, the role of the press is so vital in our democracy. And on May 17th, 1837, the Baltimore Sun published its first edition. Last Friday, it published an extraordinary piece, an editorial apology. And I'm flagging this for you all in case you didn't read or listen to it. It was almost 30 minutes on audio, and it's long. It was a strong apology for the racial insensitivity, violations, blindness that they have reflected in their editorial board and in their coverage over the years since 1837. It is, it's really moving, it's inspiring, it's comprehensive, and I encourage you to read or listen to it. And I just want to, permission to use the senator's name?
Senator may proceed.
I think it was the only person that they, or just about the only person that they gave a shout out by name, is our own senator from District 41, Senator Carter for her lifelong commitment to racial reconciliation and for being a leader on these issues. And so both to learn about Senator Carter's work and the recognition that she got, but truly it is powerful, and I encourage the body to read or listen to it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you for that observation. It's very, and recognition where recognition is due. So thank you. And to the Sun, the paper of record, we all have work to do. We all have work to do. All right. Yes, Chair recognizes the Senator from Montgomery County.
Thank you, Mr. President. Many of us know Senator Frank Shore. Senator Shore served in this body from 1978 to 1990. He represented District 17. I'm standing today because his neighborhood is right on the edge and has switched back and forth between our two districts, and he currently lives in District 18. Senator Shore's wife, Josephine Shore, passed away last week. She was affectionately known as Josie, and she was always by Frank's side. We are and will always be a Senate family, Mr. President. As you always say, once a senator, always a senator. I'd ask that we keep Senator Shore in our prayers and that we adjourn today in memory of Josephine Shore.
Thank you so much for that observation, Senator. And without objection, we will certainly do so in her honor. Chair recognizes the Senator from Montgomery County.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. President. A quick reminder, please, Montgomery County senators, we have a long voting list. We'll see how much of it we can knock out immediately following session in the Montgomery County Senate delegation room.
Excellent. Thank you, Senator. Mr. Chairman. Chair recognizes Senator from District 6.
Mr. President, you said it earlier about what's going on in Ukraine and in our world. And one thing that I do, I listen to a man of God many times that had passed away many years, as he was the world evangelist Billy Graham. And he fought for peace. And I know right now, one thing that we need to do as a world, as a country, as a state, and as a Senate, if we could do one thing, we can pray for that. So I would love if everybody would take just a moment of time throughout the day, just think about those that are very much in fear right now of their lives. And if we could just take a slight moment of time to think about those little ones, those homeless people, and those that are right now, they're very, very afraid. And I pray for peace. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you for that reflection, Senator. Thank you. Scary world out there, one day at a time. All right, let's do a quorum call. Chair recognizes the Senator from Baltimore City.
Is now a good time for general announcements?
Sure, Senator,
Okay.
proceed.
Colleagues, I just want to alert everyone that today starts the CIAA tournament here in the state of Maryland. 12 historically black colleges and universities are having their conference starting today all the way through Saturday. Maryland is the beneficiary for Charlotte, North Carolina's loss. When the CIAA tournament was there in Charlotte, it generated about $55 million in impact. All 22 games in this conference is the only Division II basketball tournament that's aired on ESPN all this week. The entire conference generates about $1.5 million for the students at these 12 institutions. Right now, 80% of the hotel rooms in Baltimore and the region are occupied. 70% of the tickets to the game are sold. So if you get a chance, please visit baltimore.org. It's a great opportunity to showcase what Maryland has to offer on the national stage through ESPN. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you for that reflection. It's an exciting event. It's going to be great. Yes, Chair recognizes Senator from Prince George's.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President.
Senator has to keep
I
her
also
mask.
want to.
Senator has to replace her mask. Thank you, Senator.
I didn't think y'all would hear my voice if I. Thank you, Mr. President. I was trying to figure out what was funny, but that's okay. I also want to emphasize the importance of the CIAA. Another university that will benefit from this is my alma mater, Bowie State University. So I would hope that you all would please join in as we celebrate the CIAA tournament that's coming in here. It usually is in North Carolina, but we got it to come to Baltimore, and we are very excited about it. And the resources that are gathered and the money that we will be able to generate from this wonderful, wonderful tournament is just unbelievable. So thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you,
President.
Senator. Another great Sun story about the Bowie State alumni who was able to, it was a really, really excellent article. All right, let's do a quorum call before we adjourn.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 46 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, Senate of Maryland remains in session. Chair recognizes the majority leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate of Maryland stand adjourned until Wednesday, February 23rd at 10 a.m. in memory of Josephine Shore, wife of Senator Frank Shore.
Without objection, so ordered. Stay safe. Have a wonderful day.